So what's up guys, welcome back to the channel. So in this simple tutorial I'm going to be showing you how you can work with the data tables. As you can see, they are telling you it adds advanced interaction controls to your HTML tables, and it's free by the way. So it's a simple plugin for the jQuery JavaScript library. Let me first show you the example here. So they give you the live example. We can easily get that instant search. We can select the number of results that we want to see per page or per display. We can filter, as I told you, instant search. You can search for offices in London, and it will bring only offices in London. We can search for positions, let's say software, or you can see software engineer, and in case we put something that is not there, that's what they will be showing to the user. And there is also another feature, the pagination feature. Let me first zoom it on the number of results. You can see we get that pagination feature from this plugin, DataTables. You can see how it is very simple. So we are going to be using a database. Probably in the most cases this data will be coming from the database. So I set up a simple table here and a database, and it has some good fake data that we are going to be using for this tutorial. What you need to do, type in datatables.net and they will bring you on this site. Where you see my cursor, click download, and they will present you to this page for the download, different downloads. And it works with different frameworks. You can see we are having Bootstrap 3, 4, Foundation, jQuery UI, Semantic UI, and other packages you can select. But for this tutorial, I'm going to be using a framework called Materialize CSS. So it's not listed on the list, and somebody asked me to do a video about it. We get problems with this. Let me show you first. So somebody using the Materialize CSS framework, he or she gets hard time of this select menu. So somebody using the Materialize CSS framework won't be seeing this menu, and that's what we are going to be doing in this tutorial. So let us go back to the download page, scroll down, just click here on this tab, download, and finally click this blue button, download files. And I'm going to save it inside a folder called DataTables. I already created it on my localhost folder, and this is it. So I'm in example. So inside the example, just go to htdocs, because I'm going to be working with the database. I need to be running on a server. Then DataTables, and this is the zipped file that we have downloaded. So right click, just extract it. I use this program called the 7-zip. I'm going to say extract here, and it's going to bring out different types of files. We get the JavaScript files and the CSS files. Then by the way, what you need to be having also is jQuery, because it is a jQuery plugin. So you need to be having jQuery on your files. Just go to jQuery.com/download and download the latest jQuery that you'll be finding there. So we have finished to download that, and we have extracted all these files that you're seeing here. I'm going to create my own folders to make everything simple and clean. Oh, why is it so slow? I don't know why it has frozen, but let us try again. New. This piece has been acting weirdly lately. Folder. is CSS. Now it's okay. And this one's going to be JS. So I'm going to use the minified files. There were files you see with min. I'm going to use that. That's CSS. Then this is JS. Then the rest, let's say goodbye to them. Plus this. So we're having our simple folders. One has CSS and the other has the JS, and our file that we are going to be working with jQuery. Let us also put jQuery in JS, and we be having a simple structure here. So we're having CSS, JS, and the file that we are going to be working with. I'm just going to put the title, DataTables. Let us preview it in the browser. We can close this. We're having DataTables there. And for the first time, let us link to the database. We are having a database called OCC_newsblog, and we have some fake data here. So at the top of the page, but don't do it this way. This is just an example. You can do it in the production way like this, connecting to the database. So I'm just going to create a variable here called con, so short for connection, and I assign it to mysqli_connect, and it takes in different parameters. Let's say the local host as the server name, then the username for the server, its root. If you have a password, you put your password here, but for me I don't have, so I'll leave it blank. Then the name of the database, OCC_newsblog. So here you put the name of your database. And with that, I can check for some connection. If there is no connection, then you can do anything that you want to. I may just say failed to connect to server. Let us refresh and see. If we get any error, that means we have failed to connect. So we have successfully connected. If I put this, if I remove that T, you're going to get some error. You can see, but with our message here, failed to connect to server. So here they are telling you unknown host, because we made a blunder here by mistake. So everything is okay there. What we are going to do now, we are just going to write a simple query, and I'm going to give it. So these are variables. Variables are user defined. You can call it anything you want. Let's say query something blah blah like that. So we are going to say select all from then the table name. So here my table name, it's called news. You can see even here the default query, it is select all from news. So we are getting everything from the table called news, and we are going to execute it. So still variables are user defined, and I'm just going to say mysqli_query. So this one executes the query, and it takes in two parameters. First, the database connection, and the query that you want to execute. Probably you see people putting here results, stuff like that, but as I told you, variables are user defined. You can use anything you want, so long as you understand it with your fellow developers. Then let us see if there is some data from this query. So I'm just going to say news. Still, this is user defined, and I'm going to run a function called mysqli_num_rows. So we want to see if there is some data returned from the database after execution. So we do this, then that's okay for the first steps. Now let me first go back. I wish I never closed the data table page. Oh, data tables. They have some instructions that they tell you for this to work properly. Full guide, and this is it. So for the data tables to be able to enhance an HTML table, the table must be valid, so well formatted, with the header and the single body and the footer. So for it to work properly, we need to put our table in a valid way. So we first open up the body tag. So inside the body tag, it takes in 3 sections. So we have the table head. So that's the header where you find the headings of the table. Then we also have the table body where our content is going to go. And lastly, we get the table footer. So the table foot. And here we put in the first row, the table row, that's TR, plus the table headings. So the first one will be article, let's say ID. That's what I'm going to call my first heading. And I'm just going to copy this several times. And this one is going to be article title. And this one is going to be article category. And lastly, I'm just going to put published art. Let us go back and refresh our page. So this is what we are having. Still, that's HTML. We haven't included any styling. And then let us come to the body section. So remember, we said this is where we want our data to be displayed. So this data that we are fetching from the database is going to be inside the table body. Remember, we stopped from here in PHP. We can easily come in the body tag here and we open up our fresh PHP tags. Remember, we stopped on counting the rows that were returned from this query that was executed. Then let us check if the results we got back are greater than 0. So if this, the variable you created here and use, the one you're seeing there, so we're going to come here and say if news is greater than 0, then we are going to loop that data from the database. We are first going to assign it to a variable called row. As I said, variables are user defined. You can name it anything you want. And I'm going to pass it in a function called mysqli underscore fetch underscore array. So it's going to be returned back as an associative array. And I'm going to pass in the data that was returned. So it is stored inside this execute variable. And I'm going to open curly braces. So with PHP, we are not going to be echoing out all the HTML tags. What I'm going to do, I'm first going to cross this PHP tag from here. So this first step, I'm going to cross it from there. Then come here and open up a fresh PHP tag. So this one is going to be crossing with this one. So right here in the middle, we are free to put any type of HTML tag that we want. So I'm going to use the table row and the table data tag. You can see how it's very, very simple. So whatever is inside here, we are going to be looping it several times, because remember, it's going to be between this while loop. You can see when I highlight this, when I put my cursor with this, they show you that it's crossing it's starting from here and crossing from here, and this checks from here and here. So whatever is inside here, we are going to be roping it. So we can say PHP tags, and we say echo. Then we use this variable that we created here, row. So we are going to use row. Since it's an associative array, you can use these square brackets. And let's go and put this column name from the database. So article title, article ID, non title, article, let me see, underscore ID. So if you have to refresh this, so right now we are just fetching things from the database. We have not yet worked with the data tables. You can see we are getting our IDs. So you may decide not to fetch this from the database, but that's fine. Since it's working, that's what we want. Then let us also get the article titles, so row. And what's the name of that column from the database? So article underscore title. So article underscore title. Refresh the page, and this is what we are having. So the rest I'm just going to copy and paste. So probably I think this is category, and the last one is published art. And this is what we are having. Very, very nice. Now let us, I'm going to wrap my table inside a div called a div, sorry, not called a div with a class of container. So I want to have some fixed width on both sides. So let me come here and close this. The first thing now we are going to do, let's come to our head sections in this HTML tag, and let us link to the CSS file. So we're having a folder called CSS /, and inside we have DataTables.min.css. Then for the JavaScript, I like placing my JavaScript at the bottom of the page, and we are going to say script. We put the source attribute where it's located. It's inside a folder called JS. Then we are first going to link jQuery. So this jQuery, because this plugin is dependent on jQuery. So we say jQuery.js. Then let us also link the plugin. Link the plugin, and since I JS, then DataTables.min.js. And with this, nothing is going to happen. You can see nothing is happening because we have to initialize this. Let us give an ID to our parent tag table, and I'm just going to call it news blog. You can name it anything you want. So let us create a simple script tag here, and we are going to say, since we linked jQuery, we are free to use this. We are going to listen for the document load by using the document.ready callback function. So we want any code that is inside here to load when the document is ready, and we are going to select the other ID we created of news blog, and we say dot data table. Let us refresh, and this is what we are having. You can see how it is very, very simple. We have our pagination here, just that I don't have a lot of data in the database, but we are getting this select menu. So if you add some good data, it will be having all that. We can easily search, say local, and it will bring on a local stuff like that, and it will bring entertainment. And now this is just plain HTML. So as I told you, I'm going to be working with a framework called Materialize CSS framework, because by default in that framework, this select menu disappears when you add it. When you include the files, this select menu disappears. But guys using Bootstrap, it should be okay, because you don't need to write extra code for this to be shown. But guys using the Materialize CSS framework, they have to add some little line of code for it to be displayed on the page. So first, I'm going to be using these online CDNs, but you feel free to download this and work with it offline. So that's the first CSS file. I'm going to paste it there below. Then let me go back and get the JavaScript file and place it at the bottom of the page with these files. So remember this div I created with the class of container, it's going to leave some extra width size this side and this, so equal width. As you can see, that's fine. We get our simple styled table. You can see spots, but if you are to notice, our select menu has disappeared. So this is some bug with guys using the Materialize CSS framework. For you to get back your select menu, what you need to do is come down here inside this, and by default in this plugin they put here select menu. So for us, we are going to select any tag that we are going to select the tag of select, and we say form, then select, the S is in uppercase. Let us refresh, and that's the simple code that you are supposed to put there. Very, very simple. So for you guys using the Materialize CSS framework, this is what you have to add in your code. This, and it's okay. So this one takes in an object. You forgive me for the noise in the background. So this one takes in an object, we can say paging. So in case you don't want this pagination to be shown, you just say paging and you say false, and they won't show that pagination, so it won't be displayed. But by default it is true. So you may be asking yourself, what about this? We created the table footer and we have put nothing there. So for the table footer, you can easily carry this again and repeat it down there. And this is how it will be looking like. So the choice is yours. So let me show you, you can easily add some columns here or rows. Sorry, we can come and add some data table, and it takes in, we put in like the edit button, so edit, and this one will be delete. Let us add the heading here, let's say action. The same applies here. action, and let us refresh. So we're having our simple links here. Let us make them now buttons by just putting a simple class of btn then plus btn red, since it's a delete button. Very simple. So you can see how we can easily use this data table plugin on your projects. It's a simple plugin. So you style your table the way you want. You can see the example. For them, they are using the Bootstrap themes. You usually get this the way it is, but for the guys using the Materialize CSS framework, it designs its select menu in a different way. So you have to first initialize it to use it. Stuff like that. If you put no sense, they show you this. So guys, if this tutorial was useful to you, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel, like the video, and I'll see you in the next tutorials. Peace.